Hi guys, welcome to a video, and in today's video I'm doing a review of the book Patsy by Dennis-Benn. It's taken me a while to read this, but I finally finished and oh boy. Just as a heads up, this book is a queer book and not a lesbian book. The book is centered on a woman who loves another woman, but there is also some hetero content. So just a content warning for other lesbians that it's not a strictly lesbian book, and this video will contain spoilers. So Patsy is essentially about a woman who yearns to escape her life in Jamaica and go to New York and start a new life. She also hopes to be reunited with her childhood lover Cicely and rekindle their love. But in escaping to New York, she must leave her young daughter behind and face life as an undocumented immigrant. So what did I like about this book? Well, first off, the writing is absolutely fantastic. It was refreshing to read a book where the writing was actually good. Dennis-Benn is a fantastic writer. Second of all, there's so much to this book, I don't really know where to start. The book deals with race, class, gender expression, sexuality, and immigration. It deals with trauma inheritance, it deals with what it is to be a black woman in the world, and it doesn't shy away from anything. The book also lets the audience make up their own mind about the issues and struggles in this book. Dennis-Benn isn't preaching to anybody, she's just saying it how it is. I also like that Patsy isn't a perfect protagonist, because that's what makes her interesting. The book highlights the fact that women will often pass down this inheritance of trauma to their daughters, which continues in a cycle until somebody breaks the chain. It also looks at New York through the eyes of an immigrant, and this is not a perspective we're often exposed to. And it's so beautifully written, you feel like you're right there with Patsy, experiencing New York with her. The topic of gender is also very interesting in this book, and it explores people's attitudes towards individuals who don't conform to gender expectations. And even Patsy herself engages in reinforcing a lot of prejudice. Her daughter True grows up to be very masculine presenting and faces a lot of general hostility for the way in which she chooses to present herself. And her half-brother Kenny is also treated with a lot of disdain for not being manly enough. And the book highlights society's needs to put men and women into boxes. Now, I think this book is interesting in terms of sexuality. To me, it seemed that Patsy was either a queer or bisexual woman. However, her heart and her emotional sphere tended to revolve around just women. And of course, it's about her journey of working through her repression and trying to escape from a homophobic society, but still carrying that shame with her even when she's living in the West. The book explores heteronormativity and how that ties into money as well, and how some women will stay with men because it's financially beneficial. So the book deals with female sexuality on many layers, and as I say, the book doesn't sugarcoat anything, which I really like, and it explores heteronormativity, it explores the repressed lesbianism or queerness so many women live with. The relationship between Patsy and Cicely wasn't as thoroughly explored as I would have liked it to have been. You know, Patsy, she left her daughter behind to come and be with this woman, and it seemed that both women were harboring this repression, which ultimately separated them in the end. I'm glad Patsy chose Claudette at the end of the book, because Claudette was obviously the healthier choice. But I would have liked there to have been a bit more exploration and conversation between Patsy and Cicely about their relationship. I liked that this book explored the working sphere for women and for undocumented immigrants. And I liked how the book showed the intersection between mental health and working class people, and also the lack of understanding and tolerance surrounding mental health. But by far, for me, the most interesting theme in this book was that of motherhood, and second to that, the inheritance of kind of silence and trauma that women pass down to each other through the generations. Society projects these maternal ideals onto women, and of course the reality is not all women are maternal. Even if they've given birth to a child, women are expected to give up themselves for other people. And this book is very much about breaking that cycle of living for other people's expectations. We see this highlighted in the letter Patsy writes for True at the end of the book. And of course, Patsy isn't this perfect protagonist. She is a very flawed woman who definitely makes selfish choices, and she's small-minded at times. But she was just as much a victim as she was a villain, which is so often the case with mothers who struggle to raise a child. I don't really have any dislikes for this book. I did feel like towards the end of the book, the pacing was a little bit off. The first half of this book was much more fleshed out and well paced than the latter half of the book. There's also a huge chunk of time missing in the book, which threw me off a little bit because the author chose to fast forward quite a few years. And I understand why she did that, but I just felt like it disrupted the flow a little bit. I like that the ending was positive and upbeat. I think that was a nice finish to the book, but you are left wondering what becomes of these characters. So perhaps the book wasn't really wrapped up in a way that I loved. Overall, I think I can safely recommend this book just for the writing alone. As I say, the writing is absolutely fantastic. It's also an interesting look at Jamaican culture and society. The book doesn't sugarcoat anything at all, which is a huge turn on for me when reading a book. And the themes in this book are explored with intelligence and presented in a way in which the reader can make up their own mind. Okay guys, thanks for watching. If you've read this book, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments section. Don't forget to subscribe for instant disappointment, and I'll see you guys soon.